Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. So I've been invited here to talk about accelerators, and I'm going to do that very, very quickly. I don't want to spend any much time on it because I think it's incredibly boring, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly talk about Techstars, where I work, because it's quite a good example of an accelerator. I think 6 or 7 years ago, we open sourced our playbook. So the vast majority of accelerators in the world that you will ever encounter are modeled after Techstars. Yeah, not all of them, but many. So I'm going to explain to you in 3 minutes how Techstars works, and then we're actually going to have some fun. Right, so at Techstars we have about 20 offices. We invest about in 200 companies a year. For those of you who don't know what accelerators do, think of us as super early stage investors who are incredibly hands-on for a very short period of time, and then we help companies raise the funding that they really need. So what do? At Techstars, we invest $118,000 for between 7 and 10% of the equity. We have a network of over 1,000 mentors who come to us during the 3 months program, and they sit down with the companies and they try to help them for free. Yeah? And these are all experienced entrepreneurs or investors or other connectors in the industry, and they're just there to help and give forward and basically help entrepreneurs become more successful. In my program, I'll sit down every entrepreneur with over 100 of those guys in face-to-face meetings, and then we're going to arrange more meetings after that. The second part of any program should be a certain type of process of coaching. So I sit down with my teams at the beginning and we say, okay, where do you need to be in 12 months' time, in 6 months' time, in 3 months' time? And what does that mean for next week? When I was an entrepreneur, my experience was I'm wasting 70 to 80% of my time guaranteed. And the problem is I don't know what time I'm wasting and what time is spent effectively. And what I do in the program is I give the teams permission to not do things. Yeah. So all the brilliance comes from the entrepreneur, and I'm like the waste removal guy. I say, don't do that shit. That's a waste of your time. Focus on this. Yeah. We then track KPIs quite relentlessly and so forth, and because companies stop wasting time and they just focus on the things that really matter, they accelerate. And that's why accelerators are called accelerators. It's because of that activity. And the mentors help the companies through that process. Then on demo day, imagine it like a theater like this, but maybe 3 times bigger. So we'll have 600 to 1,000 seats. 2/3 of the people in the audience will be investors, and then the companies stand up and they pitch for 5 minutes. Yeah, it's 1 hour, 10 companies. And because we'll have 300, 400, 500 investors in the audience and there are only 10 companies on stage, that's such a huge imbalance of investors to companies that companies tend up raising the capital that they need. So, all the good and the great of the VC world have invested in Techstars companies, pretty much without exception. So the last thing to say about us is basically, we focus very much on entrepreneurs. It's all about giving. We have very small cohorts of only 10 entrepreneurs. We focus on quality over quantity, and we don't care about hierarchies. Yeah, it's all flat. We're all just people in a network, and we try to help wherever we can. So in my mind, so that's what we do, but actually if you look at any other accelerator, they're pretty much all set up like that, right? There's a cash involvement, there are mentors, there's some process, and there's a demo day where people stand up in the end and pitch to investors. And accelerators are really there to help companies focus, get to product market fit, and then accelerate beyond that as quickly as possible and not waste any time, number one. Number two, so I always think about it as if you surround people in a bubble of really, really high quality people, wherever they go and they talk to other people, it's just high quality people, a lot of high quality things will happen. Yeah? And if all of that happens in an environment where it's all about the entrepreneur and it's all about giving, lots of good things are going to happen. So what I would like to do now is actually give a demo, right? So I would like to give you one session of the many sessions that we do. And this session is about making money, which is quite close to my heart as an investor, or actually even as an entrepreneur. Right, so I want to know, in the audience, who here is an entrepreneur? Who is actually founding a company? It's great. Who wants to make money? Oh, somebody almost took the hand down. And who of those, keep hands up, speaks English? Right, great. I would like to have 3 of you on stage right now, please. Come on. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be great fun. You're going to learn something. You're going to learn how to make money. Hi. Jens. And I need a third. Hi. Come on up. Come on up. Right. And a third. Great. This is going to be cool. Hello.
Hi, my name is Anne.
Hi. Jens. Okay. So before we involve these guys, I'm going to talk you through a process of how to actually sell. So who here knows who the best salespeople in the world are? Any ideas? Any suggestions? Actors. Actually, not a bad idea. Any other suggestions? Right. The world's best salespeople are con men. Why is that? Because they sell nothing for something. That's actually really difficult. You have to be incredible at sales, right? What's the difference between an entrepreneur and a con man? Yeah? When you wake up in the morning and you decide, I now know what I'm going to do. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do this company. It's going to be great. What do you have? Nothing. So what's the difference between an entrepreneur and a con man? Any ideas? No? Intent. Yeah? The con man is a thief. They steal money. Yeah? The entrepreneur wants to deliver relentless value and sign people up for a lifelong subscription that always increases in price. Right? But when you start out, the process of selling to people is actually remarkably similar because you have so little or you have nothing. Right? So how do con men do sales? So we're going to go quickly through this, and I'm going to do a kind of role-playing game with those guys. This is a typical 2-hour session that we do at Techstars. I'm going to do it in 15 minutes. So we're going to skip over a whole bunch of stuff, but it's going to be fun. Right, so how do con men do this? So there is a roper, there is an insight man, there is the fixer, there is a convincer, and then it's about the cash. Okay, so we're going to go through those 5 steps, and I'm going to explain what happens in each individual one. So the roper brings in the target. Okay, so we're going to practice this. So one of you is going to play the entrepreneur. Who wants to do that? You? Yeah. Okay, great. So let's just, as an example, I'm an investor. Yeah, you're an entrepreneur. You want to pitch me for money. Okay, and you walk up to me, say at this conference, right? And you say, hello, my name is this. I have this incredibly interesting company. Would you like to invest? Not that you would ever do that, but just as an example on stage.
Hello, my name is Anne.
Oh, sorry. You can use this.
Hello, my name is Anne.
It should work.
I will create a coding school for girls because I want girls to learn computer science and to be more confident with technology.
Great. Right. So she comes to me in that pitch, and I'm like, I think in France this must be even more pronounced than it is everywhere else, right? But like, I'm like the big guy, right? And she comes to me, it's like, oh, hello, I'm the entrepreneur. Can you please give me money? Yeah. And that doesn't really work. Why? Because I'm sort of up and she's down here, right? So now we're going to play this differently. So you are going to play the roper, right? We know each other for years. We've invested together. And you say, hey, look, I've met this. Okay, so say, I've met this incredible entrepreneur. She's doing awesome stuff. I would like to introduce you, right? And then you do that, and then you say, hey, nice to meet you. How can I help? Let's do that. Let's try that. You talk to me. You basically say, "Hey Jens, good to see you again. I've met this incredible entrepreneur."
I've met an incredible entrepreneur, and you have to invest. I'd like to introduce you to him.
Oh, sounds great. Who is it?
Hi, my name is Anne.
Hi, nice to meet you.
How are you?
Great. You say, "How can I help?"
How can I help?
You see what just happened? All right. So suddenly I'm no longer up here, and she's down here. I'm down here, and she's up here. Why is that? Because the power balance is flipped. How has that happened? Because he roped her in. He put her up, right? So he basically said, she is awesome. You must talk to her. And I was like, oh man, awesome, great. How do I do that, right? So I go to her, and suddenly I'm no longer here. I mean, she's already here, or maybe on equal footing, but suddenly she's in a position of power, yeah, that she didn't have before. And the funny thing is that that works in real life all the time. All the VCs, what do they say? Please get introduced to me by somebody whom I know. Why is that? It's not because they like to get conned. is because they know if that happens, somebody actually knows how to sell. Yeah? So now she's in a strong position, right? So you are the roper. Let's come over here, you in the middle. You are the inside man or woman, let's just call it the inside man. You tell the story, right? And the key thing about the story is not about what you do, it's all about the wow. Okay? So let me give you a quick example of that. Let's just say, hello, my name is Jens, I have a company, we just closed our first customers, IBM, and we've got $1 million contract with them. Wow, right? I didn't actually say what I did. It's irrelevant. No investor in the world cares about what you actually do. Seriously, nobody cares. They just care about the wow, that's awesome, it works, it's generating enormous traction, it's cash pouring in, this thing is a rocket, right? They care about rockets, not about what you do. So the only statement they should make is basically, my company is incredible because of X, it's the wow, right? I don't know whether you have a wow, make one up. make up something big.
Hi, I've just partnered with Capgemini right there for a 1 billion contract.
Wow, that's great, right?
That's great.
Okay, great. So I'm already excited, but I think, wow, she's got $1 billion contract. Can't believe that. Sounds too good to be true. So then the fixer needs to come in, right? And the fixer makes it believable and desirable. So you work with Capgemini, okay, right? Give it. And you say, yeah, Jens, we've partnered with her. It's incredible. We're going to pile a ton of money in.
Oh, yes, I completely agree with her. I mean, her idea is just fantastic, and we at Capgemini really want to work with her.
This is great, right? So basically what we've now done is, so he roped her in. She has wowed me. He has confirmed. It's true. It's really awesome. Right? And then it's the fourth thing, and that's getting me to yes. Now, getting me to yes does not mean, oh, Jens, do you want to invest? Here's a contract. Getting me to yes basically means I just need to say yes to something. Now, who here has seen this movie with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt? What's it called? The Tourist. Yeah? They travel to Venice on this train, and they sit there, and at some point she says to him, hey, Brad, I think you should invite me out, or not Brad, you should invite me out to, no, it's actually not Brad Pitt, it doesn't matter. You should invite me out to dinner tonight, right? And he says, okay, would you like to come to dinner with me? And she says, oh no, if you ask, that's kind of weak. Yeah, try again. And he says, okay, so I think you should really come out with me to dinner tonight. And she said, oh no, it's far too bossy. Try one last time. And then he says, okay, and he thinks about it, and he says, all right, so tonight I'm going to this incredible restaurant. It's awesome. And I'll be delighted if you care to join me. And she says, see, that wasn't so hard, right? That's how you ask people to invest. You don't say, do you want to invest? You don't say, I think you should invest. You say, look, this round is taking off like nothing. We're raising $1 million. We already have 600 committed.
You're going to miss the boat.
You're going to miss the boat. Do you want to stick some money in? We like you. We've got great rapport. What do you think? Yeah? And then people think, okay, that sounds good. Right? So we're going to practice this one last time.
But that would mean that Techstars is doing 3 out of 4 roles here.
Well, basically, it's a bit more complicated than that,
okay,
right?
Right, okay.
So then we're going to play this through now, right? And you're going to see, I mean, the funny thing is, so these people have just come on stage and have told you what they're going to do, and they're going to do it in the way in which I tell them to do it. And you can see all of that, and it will still work, right? Because it's ingrained in psychology. You can't actually get this out of your system. It just works, yeah? So let's just try it. It actually really does work. So he's going to rope in. She's going to introduce herself. I'm going to say, wow. He's going to confirm it. He's going to hand it back. And she's going to say, would you like to join me? Yeah, let's try it.
Hi, Jens. I've got someone to introduce you to invest.
That sounds great. She's awesome. Who is it? I would like to meet her.
Yes, it's possible. She's here.
Fantastic.
Hello, my name is Anne.
Hello, nice to meet you.
How can I help?
Well, I heard that you've got this incredible company, and I'm just curious to learn more about it.
Yeah, I just partnered with Capgemini for a $1 billion contract.
Wow, that sounds
It's awesome.
incredible. So who at Capgemini is doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, you better get in on this. This is the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Oh, that's
You
really
better
incredible.
not miss on this.
So how can I help?
Yeah, I would like another billion, please.
Well, now you asked. So we're raising $1 billion. It would be cool if you could chip in 100 or something like that. Okay, thank you. That's basically, thank you all. Thanks. Cheers. Okay, so the thing with this is this actually really does work, and that's actually exactly how it happens. So just as a reminder, what are those things called in the real world? Yeah, because they actually have names. So the first thing is called marketing, when you're doing sales and you're not fundraising. Marketing generates leads that get handed to sales, and sales needs to qualify the lead, yeah? And the most important thing that you can do for yourself and your company is to separate the marketing and the sales activity. The roper can't be the inside man. If it's the same person, it's much weaker. If you only have two founders in a startup, one should be the roper, the other one should be the inside man. If you're by yourself, well, then you've got a totally different problem. So separate marketing and sales. The inside man should focus on ROI and wow, not on what you do. No investor and no customer and nobody in the world cares about what you do. Even journalists don't care about what you do. Everybody just wants to know why they should care and why it's incredible. If Google only had $1 million of revenue per year, nobody would care. Because they have 70 billion, everybody cares a lot. Yeah. The third thing is, the fixer who confirms that this is true, it can't be the sales guy, it can't be the sales, but it needs to be something else. It could be, a fact. I've got data, I can prove it. It could be a reference customer. It could be the journalist who has written an incredible story about the company. All of those things can confirm that something is true and make it desirable and wantable. The biggest mistake that inexperienced salespeople do is they actually jump from stage 2 to stage 5. I'm interested, here is a contract. And then everything just goes, sales cycle lengthened to years, really incredibly difficult, drawn-out process, prospects just vanish, right? So what you want to do is you don't want to do that. You want to give them, you just want to get an initial verbal yes. Are you interested? Yes, great. Here's a letter of intent. Right? VCs call this term sheets. Here are all the important commercial terms. Let's sign this. It's not legally binding before we get to the contract stage. Great idea. So what you want to do as much as possible is separate the commercial agreement from the legals. They cannot be the same. When you're shopping at Amazon, you just see the price. This is what you get, this is what it does, this is how much it costs. All the legals are hidden from you. If anybody actually had to read the legals, Amazon wouldn't sell a single thing. Ever. Right? So make contracts easy to sign. Preferably don't, actually have people explicitly sign contracts. Have them implicitly sign contracts. I agree to the terms of conditions. Click. Whoever reads these things? Nobody. Yeah. But it's a contract. So try to separate legals from the contract and make them super, super easy to sign. Okay, so if you get those 5 things right, I promise you, your sales velocity will go up incredibly. Things that have previously taken 9 months will suddenly take 4. And your closing percentage will go from, 5% to 10 or 15, or maybe even more. Yeah, because you're guiding people through the process. And the interesting thing is that if you do this, you can test this on yourself with other products that people are selling to you. How did I get roped in? How did I hear about this product? Yeah. How are they pitching it to me? How are they making me want to have it? Well, it's the football star who says, whatever, things like that. Maybe a friend recommended it. It's incredibly powerful. So it does work. People do it to you all the time. You just don't realize that this is what's happening. So for the inexperienced entrepreneur or the inexperienced salesperson, it's really difficult to actually think through this. Yeah. Now, there are other books about sales. They all have different kinds of systems and they all work. But mentally, I just find this, because it's about hustling and it's not about sales, I find it just really easy to get this into people's minds like that. And it tends to stick. And that's why we're teaching it like that. The last piece of advice I have for you actually has absolutely nothing to do with this, but I would like to close with it. And then we have some time for Q&A, which is basically the best advice I've ever been given is this. Okay, when I was an entrepreneur, at some point somebody said to me, don't be afraid, because fear eats the soul, completely paralyzes you. You stop doing things because you're worried about what might happen. And you have to stop doing that because it will destroy your company. And that was the single most useful advice I've ever received, and I'm telling it to every entrepreneur that I'm mentoring, right? And I had one entrepreneur call me the other day and said, Jens, I've been looking at this 5 times last Friday, and it's been incredibly useful because I made a really important decision and I stopped being afraid, or tried to stop being afraid of it. So that's it.